Yeah, so I appreciate you coming on the channel, joining me in my podcast, episode 10, actually. So big number 10, double digits. Not quite where old school Pokemon and Dan from Catch 'em All Collectibles are. I think they're like 27 or something deep, which is awesome. So they just hit their 1 year milestone. So pretty awesome for them. Again, I'm sitting here with my good friend Pokemon Knowledge, PK. Appreciate you coming on, man. Really looking forward to kind of getting into you a little bit. So I've been watching quite a bit of your content, and actually didn't discover your content until probably 3 months ago, or
Okay.
approximately.
Yep.
It was probably through Jake Pokenomics. You had done a few lives with him, which was pretty awesome. Just a really big fan of the long form content, which seems to be pretty popular in this little niche we got going on in Pokemon right now, and it's pretty awesome. So a lot of us work from home, and some of us don't, and some people go to the gym and listen to it, and it's pretty cool. So definitely like listening in to some of your stuff. You've had some pretty banger videos here as of late. Um, Go ahead and introduce yourself, even though I'm sure, like everybody always says, like, so you probably the 670 people probably familiar with you, but
Yeah, no, well, first off, I just want to say, thanks for having me on your channel. I've been watching a lot of your content lately too, and you came on my channel, and I appreciated that as well. But I always find it funny that you said you really discovered my channel in the last 3 months, and that's like one of the things I definitely strive for when I make content, because in the back of my head, the people that watch my videos are probably, most of those people are crossover to your videos or Jake's videos, or you mentioned Dan and Old School Pokemon, and those are all guys I've had on my channel as well, and I've done lives with each one of them. But I always wonder, I'm like, and there's always like this thought in the back of my head is there somebody out there who's going to become like a huge fan of all of our channels, of all of our content, and that person doesn't even know we exist yet? And
right.
maybe this video on your channel will be the first time they ever discover us, and they ever discover this type of, like you said, this more, longer type of content.
Yeah.
And just that thought that there could be that one person out there could potentially, like, maybe call them a super fan, or just somebody who's going to dive deep down the YouTube rabbit hole like you and I have. The fact or the thought that that person could be out there somewhere, like, that's what drives me to do content. And
Yeah.
like, I strive to reach that person.
Hell yeah. No, it's awesome. I saw like going back, like way back on your channels, like the earliest video right now is like November of 2020. But in the video, it sounds like you're saying welcome back. Like there's prior videos that just don't exist anymore. So like how early did you actually get into YouTube and start this whole journey?
Yeah, so some of my super early videos, yeah, I had a bunch of videos that I kind of just, they still exist, but I just made them private
Yeah.
because at the time production quality was very low. I mean, I still record videos off my phone now and stuff, with the exception of lives. I do it off a computer with, and then even my lives have gotten better. Like, I've upgraded the camera a little bit, stuff like this. But those real early videos are super cringeworthy. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. And maybe you ran into something similar when you started making videos. Like, I came in, and that's where my name came from. Poke Knowledge Cards was, I wanted it to be more like an educational type video, and like video series where we would go through like history of sets, niche cards, even like going down to the absolute like basics, from the difference between, an unlimited card to a shadowless card, all the way up to
Yeah.
like maybe a niche of like TV reporter reverse hollow from Dragon. So just do the whole spectrum, right? And that's where my name came from. And it's actually like a name I don't love, but I have now grown to like,
Yeah.
it is what it is. I prefer when people call me PK at this
Yeah.
point.
Yep.
But yeah, so those super early videos I just kind of made private because they were just cringy.
I mean, if you look at Mr. Beast, though, man, he's kept everything on his.
Yeah.
Like, it's a Logan Paul video he did, like doing
I
it like 10 hours straight or something. I'm like, dude, like he's
yeah.
committed. That's
what those guys are doing is a lot different than what I'm doing, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of the videos I make, and I've talked about it on my channel, is I have a lot of internal dialogue, you know, for myself throughout the day. And a lot of that internal dialogue, you know, a lot of it is work and obviously and family and stuff like that. But a lot of like my extra brain power definitely goes towards Pokemon. So I'm having this internal dialogue and almost sometimes like debating myself or questioning things or trying to do rationalizations for things all within my head. So when I go and I'll make a live or I'll do a video, and a lot of sometimes my videos will just be me talking into the camera, you know, just me and the live chat, just so I can get those thoughts out, because that's my way of decompressing and my way of just winding down. Where maybe that's not for everybody, but it's almost like therapeutic in a way for me as a person to just
Memory
talk out
dump.
my thoughts.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good info, man. That's like when I got back into the Pokemon in I think it was like my first Pokemon upload was December 20th, 2020. Before
Okay.
that I did a couple of like World of Warcraft box openings. So the amount of knowledge I had to gain from that to now is just all done through YouTube. And unfortunately, it would have been nice if I'd have probably found your channel sooner, but it's tougher. Like usually when you get into it, you see like the Leonhards, all the people with the big subscribers you're going to run into first. So
Sure.
it's happened over time.
Yeah, and I said that a lot of times, and I said it to a lot of my listeners and fans of my channel and subscribers, and I said, just the fact that somehow whoever's out there watching this video has made it this far down the YouTube rabbit hole to get to my channel, I'm always just amazed at that, because, and I think that that is definitely like a barrier of entry for content like ours, because the person who worked their way that far down the rabbit hole and got past, like you mentioned, like the Leonhards and the Real Breaking Nates and, you know, like the Poké Revs, the guys that are more like, some of them are the open mouth thumbnail type stuff and pack openings.
Yeah.
To work your way to us, where it's just sometimes you sitting down, not opening anything, and just talking about Pokemon. And you could be talking about a set from, you know, 2003 or 2002. And you need to really be engaged in this hobby to find that content interesting.
Yeah. It's definitely a little niche we got going on. So it's pretty awesome though. I remember listening to one of your videos. You had mentioned you kind of started with base, jungle, and then kind of fell off a little bit after fossil and had some rocket cards.
Yep.
But you still prefer like the sets after that, like the E series set. So when did you reconnect with the E series?
Yeah, so when I got back into the hobby, I actually, in relative terms for a lot of people in this hobby, I actually got back, I guess you would call it now, pretty early. I got back in 2012, or sorry, in 2012. And at the time, I had got a brand new job working in North Dakota. I'm originally from the East Coast, but my degree's in geoscience, and I got a job as a petroleum engineer in North Dakota. So when I went out there, it was just leave everybody I've ever known in my life, my home, my parents, you name it. I went there with just my vehicle, a couple bags full of clothes, and I had nothing. And everything that I ever had growing up just got put in boxes and stored in my parents' house where I grew up. And then when I went out there, all I did was work. And if anybody out there listening has ever been in the oil field, you know it's just bury your head work. I lived in a man camp and I was just bored. But I was making a lot of money too, because you know, right out of college, I got a good job, you know, like
It pays
very
pretty
few,
well for sure.
it was a six-figure job as, you know, a 21-year-old. Like it was a great job, but the thing is my car was paid for. I didn't own a house. I didn't pay rent, and the food was included in the man camp. There was like a kitchen. All I did was save up money, so I just started buying stuff. And you know, I literally went through quarantine, you know, 10 years, or I guess 2020. So I went through quarantine 8 years earlier than everybody else did, because it was just me sitting in my room. And the first thing I did was when I went on eBay and I started picking up like just everything, like movie posters and I was gonna say Beanie Babies, but I didn't pick up Beanie Babies, but you know, Pokemon cards and like my mom growing up always was really interested in like currencies and coins and stuff. So I started buying coins and stuff. And when I got back into, I guess you could call it the Pokemon part, it was definitely like at the end of the year. And the only reason I know this is because it was winter time. And I remember like walking, and being cold, just going to the mailbox and picking up packages. So I know, and again, the North Dakota winter's long, but I started just buying like the card that I never had growing up. And if anybody out there is listening, they probably heard me tell the story before, but growing up, my personal chase card was Raichu, and I never pulled it. I was very lucky I got to pull like the big three, Blastoise, Venusaur, Charizard, but I never pulled the Raichu. And I tried trading one to my friend, and he saw it in my eyes how bad I want that card, and like we couldn't work out a trade. So when I rediscovered Pokemon, that was the card I remembered of never having. So at the time, I bought out the market of Raichus. And if they had like Pokemetrics back then, and there was probably a spike that happened, and it was just me clearing out eBay. I was paying like $9 for Raichus when they were probably worth 90 cents. Like I didn't care though. I did it for fun.
Yeah.
And that was how I got back in. And then I started just, acquiring more and more and more. And I like thought I was a genius that I could pick up sets and just sell a couple cards and then have the rest for free. And I wasn't even doing it for like a money or financial aspect. I was doing it because I was bored, and I was making a lot of money, but it was just fun. I enjoyed just going out and buying packing supplies at like the local Walmart and stuff, and just going to the post office and shipping cards out and doing everything by hand. Like it was because I was bored.
Yeah.
And then that just slowly start going down the rabbit hole, and then you go on like the Poke Beaches and the different forums and stuff like that. And then you discover that there's this world of Pokemon, and then you discover like what's the rarest stuff. And when even back then, the rarest stuff was e-reader sets. So to answer your question, why did I go after those sets? Because I didn't even see those sets then. They weren't it was probably like even less than it is now. And a lot of people don't hear that. They think it was just the Wild West and you could buy everything under the sun.
Yeah.
But I never did. Like, I wish I had a time machine. I could go back and say that I was buying first edition base boxes or sealed packs or, WotC boxes or Skyridge boxes or e-reader boxes, and then just acquiring all, like everything that's valuable. But that's not really what I was doing. I was just buying a little bit of everything and discovering every set one card at a time. So when I hear people talk about how they get into the hobby now today and how they're all going, just it seems to be warp speed, right? Spending thousands of dollars and doing things that literally took me years to do, and I'm always amazed by that. I'm sorry, I know that was a long-winded answer, but
no, it's good, man. So Skyridge is the set, right? That's your baby that you're chasing. Trying to
Skyridge reverse hollows is my chase. I have most of the big hitters. The one card that I'm really missing, and it's definitely going to be one of the toughest ones to acquire, is I am missing Charizard hollow in PSA 10. And about two or three auctions back, PWCC did have one up, but it went for over 15 grand, and it went out of my price range too quickly.
Yeah.
But a lot of like the commons and the uncommons, I'm just trying to pick those up because they're tough to find. So it's more just the chase at this point. And I will acquire when a good deal for hollows comes up, I'll pick them up as a lot and stuff. But I've also found myself becoming my own competitor for some of these type of more niche cards, where pretty recently, like actually a pretty famous person in this hobby or a well-known person was selling some cards, and I gave him a decent offer, but some of the comps he was using were comps that I accidentally created. So I was like, I don't know if I could be competing with myself for these cards. So we ended up not making a deal. We were only off by like $250, which in the grand scheme of Pokemon is not a lot of money.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Your Raichu collection, you're going for the whole base unlimited set 1 through 10, right?
Yeah, it's a combination of first edition Shadowless base set. It's more just like a graded set. And yeah, I'm going after 1 through 10 with all subgrades. So currently
Okay.
the only Raichus I'm missing a PSA 1, 1.5, 2.5, and then a 9.5. And the reason is because I've never personally graded with Beckett. So I would never have graded a 9.5, and
Yeah,
I would never pay the premium for a 9.5 because I would just get the 10.
I
So
know.
that is one of those cards that might be the hardest one to get, because I've been watching like Raichu Unlimited 9.5s just so I could complete that. And they're going for like $550. And that's just a price I'm not going to pay for a card that,
9.5? Jesus.
yeah,
Yeah, I know
it's
like
pretty crazy.
Zapdos is my guy, and man, the PSA 10s are like 450.
Okay, yeah, the 9.5s. The last sale for Raichu on eBay, I think was like 568. But I watched it. I put a couple bids in it, but once it went away, I was like, nope, can't do it anymore.
Yeah, it's crazy. So like even like the PSA 1 stuff, like just there's a niche of people that are chasing those, and those prices just match PSA 4 prices, and
Yeah. So my
it's
most, yeah, and I tried to get a PR1 for a Raichu again, PWCC a couple auctions back, and ended up selling for like $56. I'm like, I'm not going to spend $56. I'm like, I could just grade this card myself, but the problem is you can't grade, things for your own goals. It's
yep,
just not possible right now. But I have a stupid stack of Raichus, like
ready to
more
go.
more low grade, like 5s, 6s, 4s, 3s, 2s than any person in their right mind should ever own.
That's awesome. Yeah, I got a bunch of amazing rare Kyogres. It's the most modern card I'll probably own for a long time. So
Yeah.
it's you like what you like. It's what is what it is, right?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Do you your Instagram, you don't sell through it at all, like a bunch of people do on Instagram. Do you sell on eBay or?
Yep. So I don't ever advertise my eBays.
Yeah,
I run 3 different eBay accounts. I run one that is just like, I guess, more my personal. It's my oldest account, and it's the one that I do most of my buying from. And I have like a couple really low end graded cards on it. And then I have one that I do just auctions on. And then I do one that I do no graded cards whatsoever, and I only do raw cards because when I and this is stuff like I don't ever really talk about on my channel, but because you're interviewing me, like I'll be a little more transparent. Like,
yeah. If there's anything you don't want to talk about, let me know.
no. And so the reason I have 3 different ones is, one, the auction one, I it's not a lot. I'll list
Yeah.
like 5 auctions on a Sunday. I don't pay like the extra couple cents to have them automatically listed. Like a Sunday night, I'll have like 5 cards that I'll say, okay, these 5 cards I'm going to list. And I love Sunday night auctions because Monday morning I could have everything packed up and just go to the post office, with the exception of 4 of those will always get paid for and one of them will not, and it will screw up. And then I end up going to the post office again on Tuesday for one single package. But I do stuff like that. And then for the raw cards are definitely one of the things that are most dangerous, because you could
Yeah.
hide conditions, and people could get upset about cards, want to do return stuff like that. But as a personal buyer, I never will buy raw cards from somebody who I see listing a ton of graded cards, because that always to me says, uh-oh, this person is very familiar with grading. So because
Yeah.
I'm looking at his listings, 90% of them are CGC, PSA, SGC, Beckett. This guy's not a fool, and he only has 10% raw. So I try to keep that completely separate. So when you look at that account, you'd be like, oh, this guy doesn't grade any cards. He doesn't have one single card graded.
Yeah.
And are they like shady, like selling tactics? Like, I'll put in the description, like, I'm not a professional grader, like I don't know if this appears to be near mint. But
Like,
they're all always like 7s. But like, that's what I've always done, and I try to keep things separate, and it's how I've been successful. But all my high end cards, with the exception of pretty recently, have always gone to the PWCC monthly auction, because at a point I was one, I did something which I guess you would call, I did a lot of panic selling. And people would hear panic selling now today with Pokemon hype dying down and be like, a lot of people hear panic selling and think that's somebody like dumping all the cards on the market because they're over invested in it. I did a different type of panic selling. I was panic selling because I thought that all the prices things were selling at were super overinflated and wouldn't stay that high.
Yeah.
So when I was panic selling, I was trying my very best to take full advantage of this hype market. And I did extremely well doing that. But I wanted PWCC to do like all the legwork. And if there was returns or scamming or anything like that, like once those cards went there and they sold, I never one time had to worry about that card like coming back to me or people saying the case was scratched or all the little things buyers like to do. But all my super low end stuff, yeah, like I'll put up with that. So.
Yeah. So your primary use through PWCC, was it before they left eBay essentially? Or
Yeah.
was that...
Yeah. So my first ever submission to PWCC was like 22 cards, and I was super nervous. And I was like, you know what? Like, I really like cherry pick cards that weren't crazy high value, but were definitely like mid tier value. And I'm like, I looked at some recent comps on eBay, and I was like, okay, like even if these sell for 10% less, like I'll do okay on this card. And I sent it in the first 22 cards, and they all sold for like record breaking auction prices. Some of my cards literally sold for higher than eBay buy it now prices. And I was like,
Yep.
This stopped making sense to me. And then my next submission was 86 cards. And I just like closed my eyes and just was like, here you go, PWCC, like just start making me money. And it was a beautiful time. Like the liquidity of Pokemon became so easy. And like financials and all the benefits and the rewards that came with that was just like this absolutely beautiful thing. But what I found myself doing very quickly was burning through like all my extra inventory and started going into my personal collection because all those cards I had graded myself with the very few couple cards that I had purchased already graded. And the problem was once those cards went away, they weren't being like replenished at all, you know?
Yeah.
So that was like that tough psychological mental barrier I had to get over. And some of those cards I'll never get back. Some of those cards were part of my personal collection. But I just looked at dollar amounts and stuff like this, and I said, you know what? This could be life-changing money in the near term. And I couldn't pass that up. So.
No, it's good, man. Glad you were able to capitalize on some of that. The transition to their own website. Have you done any sales through PWCC since they're
so their first monthly auction, which I had 81 cards at. So I was submitting a lot of cards to PWCC, you know, like I've submitted hundreds now. So like my first was 82, or sorry, my first was 22 and then like 86 but their first monthly auction I did 81. And it was just a bunch of CGC crap because by that point in this timeline, as I've gone through my PSA, you know, cards that were selling, like that inventory was gone. And then we had really like started trickling to what I only had left for my personal collection. And even a lot of my personal collections, I wish I sold because prices for those cards have retraced. But the thing about my personal collection is my price points for where I got in at those cards might as well be next to nothing, right? So when I did my first monthly submission to PWCC for their first monthly auction, it was all CGC, like mid-tier bulkish, you know, like a lot of like Wizard of the Coast base set 8s and 9s and just shit I had left over that I needed to like get graded. I took a bath on that auction, you know? So.
Yeah, I've never submitted to PWCC. I have purchased I probably have 50 things in my vault now from just buying and relisting it to a fixed price. But I really like the functionality of their site to this day. I know they get a really bad rap still in like Facebook groups, and just some people really don't like them, but it's pretty useful. It saves a lot of people a lot of time. I could definitely use it sitting on all the CGC stuff here, but
Yeah.
haven't pulled the trigger myself. But
Yeah. About, I want to say it was about 2 months ago now, my PWCC balance had gone to zero for the first time like ever. And that was, I wouldn't say, it was like kind of like a heart-wrenching feeling. And I remember, and it was a very similar feeling I had when my PayPal balance went to zero too, because everybody out there listening might know, like, yes, now when you sell on eBay, all that money gets direct deposited into your bank account.
yeah,
But back when I started, everything just got deposited. Everything was through PayPal. So your
yep,
PayPal balance was your balance. And then once that stopped, because I used PayPal for everything, whether it was shopping online to eBay to any of my friends that would take PayPal, friends and family, like
yeah,
PayPal was just where it was at, right? And then
hell
I
yeah,
remember when that balance went to zero. And again, all that money had just trickled over and was going into my bank account now. But it was just this weird mental barrier. I was like, I felt like I was broke because my PayPal balance went to zero, because it's like, now I got to pay. And this is like that weird rationality, the things I talk about a lot on my channel. Like, I do a lot of mental like justification. So then it was like, oh, now I have to use real money, which is a terrible way to think about it,
exactly,
that my bank account was real money and PayPal was fake money. But
yeah,
PayPal was always just replenished by Pokemon.
yeah,
So then PWCC, once you start submitting there, then your PWCC balance starts showing money, and then you could buy cards on PWCC and you have balance there, and then you could do your direct deposit into your checking account and all that stuff. And it's just PWCC became my new PayPal, and then that went to zero. And I was like, all right. So then I submitted 23 cards. They're going to be in next week's auction. So
yeah,
just literally to get money back in that account for my fund money.
yeah, man,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
I talk about finances a lot on my channel, and then I talk about the things that I actually do. It like, don't do what I'm doing. Like,
right, yeah, exactly. It's pretty wild, man. Do you think the eBay vault's gonna make any big splashes here in the end of Q2?
I think it will. I'm already excited about it. I'm going to be in a pretty good position again with my extra inventory, because I've been now doing my best to recoup my inventory. And one of the things that I've been doing is just, picking up a lot of raw collections with the intention of grading again in the future, because like, I'm at the point in Pokemon, which, not to be like humble brag or anything, but I'm at a like I can't lose type of point,
Yeah,
which is crazy to think about, because I've already taken so much money out of the hobby and like paid down mortgages and no car payments and all this like other stuff that goes along with that. But it's a double-edged sword too, because once you take all that money out and it goes towards paying off some of your house, that money's gone,
yeah, yep,
Sure, it's built into equity or whatever, but it's gone for the most part. So
yeah,
because I was able to do that and taken out more money than I would ever be able to put back in, I feel like I can't lose in a way.
yeah,
So it's also dangerous too, right? Because now maybe you're like a little more cocky with your purchases, or you're willing to overpay for stuff, or you're willing. But one of the things that always been beneficial for me in the past, and I'm hoping it continues to like lead me in the right direction and lead me for success in the future, is that I'm extremely patient on stuff. Like, I don't look at Pokemon as a short-term thing. I look at Pokemon as a forever type thing, meaning the way I look at Pokemon is I will probably die before my Pokemon collection's gone. I can't liquidate it because it's just not possible. Now, maybe that's not for everybody, maybe some people, and I laugh at the people that talk about modern. And that's what everyone wants to talk about. And I talk about it on my channel because like that's what gets clicks, that's what people want to view. But
yeah,
I could care less about the investability of sword and shield sets, or even sun and moon sets. Like, maybe you could start talking like XY, but even XY is super new. And like,
yeah,
I can't justify any of this stuff. Like, but it doesn't mean I'm not in it. Doesn't mean I'm not involved in it. But yeah.
yeah, yeah. The word investing inside of YouTube thumbnails and all that just shoots it straight to the moon. I remember,
Yeah.
I think Z&G Emporium's most popular video, he had something about investing in Pokemon in 2020 or something. And I can't remember if it was a real video or if he just did it as like a clickbait thing. I can't remember, but his most popular video, it's crazy how the algorithm works.
Yeah, some of my super early videos, I put all the keywords and just because you're trying to get traction to your channel and stuff and you want people there. But, I hear people talk and I'll get people ask me questions like, like pretty recently at the time recording this video is March 24th, 2022. For anybody watching this in the future, hopefully, like people ask me about, what do you think about like the Vaporeon, Flareon, Jolteon VMAX special collection premium boxes, or at the time recording this video, like the most current set out there is Brilliant Stars, and people are like, what do you think about the fact that Brilliant Stars might get another reprint? And it's like, you think I fucking care if Brilliant Stars gets a reprint? Like, it's literally the most current set. Like, it's not even a set after it right now. Like, but people are already worried about reprints of Brilliant Stars and stuff, and that's stuff that I really struggle getting behind. And like, I like interviews like this, and this is kind of the first time where somebody's interviewed me and asked me my opinions. And I don't really go this in depth on my channel because I do try to keep it like more positive, but not to like hurt your channel, but it's nice to say like how I really feel sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like just knowing feeling people out and seeing how they view things, and that's good info, man, for sure.
Yeah.
I've only bought the only modern box I've ever invested in. I don't know if you heard it. I think I said it yesterday in Professor Oak's channel. I bought 11 boxes of XY Evolutions because
at what price point?
When Pokérev was pumping it in his channel, I bought it at $100 a box.
Oh, so you did great. Yeah, good for you.
I bought it because we got our vacation canceled because of COVID, and I basically got really lucky. So
I have seven. I have one case and one single booster box of Brilliant Stars. So I go hard on all modern products, but it's just because I can. And Brilliant Stars, I look at as one of those sets that I saw. I got some really good price points where I was happy at, and just acquiring positions like 105. And I was like, you know what? Just gonna buy I got a full case, and then I got an extra booster box if I want to open it. And I was like, I'm just gonna acquire my position now and just kind of sit back and like relax on this, because I look at Brilliant Stars as being like, I've already talked about it on my channel as being the new GOAT of modern. Cosmic Eclipse was always my number one. A lot of people talk about Evolving Skies as being their number one, but now it's like, for me, it's Brilliant Stars. Got those character rares, got Charizard chase cards, but I'm looking at Brilliant Stars as I'm putting it in a closet and not looking at it, which people say you shouldn't do that and all this stuff. And it's like,
everybody,
you have no clue, people out there who's saying that, like all the other stuff I'm buying, like one case of Brilliant Stars for me is nothing, I talk about this in one of my more recent videos, is the cost of entry for Pokemon, depending on the person, is extremely low. You think about how many cards you probably deal with. I know you sell a lot of graded stuff, but cards that are $600, that's how much a sealed case of Brilliant Stars costs, $600. How many cards do you deal with on a weekly basis or monthly basis that get close to that $600? That can be like a Wednesday night for you,
Yeah, it's quick.
Maybe for some people, like, that could be crazy. Be like, how can you just not care? And it's like, well, because I got so many other moving parts going on at all times. So
yeah, it's like when I started, like, I don't know, do you purchase primarily off of eBay? Do you deal with Facebook groups at all, or?
I go straight to somebody who sells the most product in the country and just go directly to him.
So I mean, like, just like singles and those type of cards, not sealed.
Oh, when I'm going to purchase cards, yeah, I eBay is definitely my number one. I'll use TCG Player once in a while, but when I can't see a card, especially for what I'm trying to complete, and what I'm trying to complete is 9s or 10s, graded in the future, whether pretty much just PSA. But if I'm going to really go after a 10, I have to see that card. So eBay is my number one for stuff like that.
Yeah, when I got back into it in 2020, it was all Facebook. I was literally not nothing off of eBay. I was literally just buying collections and stuff off Facebook. And those collections, the prices can range from a $50 collection to $10,000 collections. Like you don't see huge ones on Facebook all the time, but there is a huge range, and you could profit. You could double your money on a $50 collection, which is a lot of money. That'll pay for a night out with the wife and the kid, and it's crazy, man. It's wide open still.
Yeah, I mean, there was some times in this hobby where I was looking for like $1,000 or not $1,000, 1,000% gains or 500% gains. Like I for a while was actually like staring away from 50% gains and stuff like that, because for a very small window of time in this hobby, like there was a lot of money to be made very easily. And you had actually asked me, well, I had joined yours and Professor Oak's chat, and I wrote in the comments, and you had mentioned like one of my earlier videos. You wanna say what you were saying?
Yeah, so you had mentioned that this company called GMA, you're really looking forward to submitting more cards with them, it seemed. They've had been around for a while as a company. It wasn't like they had just started their company. But GMA is a grading company, and you had graded cards at what was less than $5 a card, correct?
Yeah, so it's funny you mentioned that. And honestly, if you didn't even mention that in his live, it's like it's not even something I ever think of, right?
Yeah.
But there was this, and everything is in context, right? So there was this very small window of time where the market for graded cards just went crazy. And the market had evaporated so quickly for all available like PSA slabs and stuff like that people were just buying anything. And at the time, again, we have to like keep in mind context, but for a small window of time, GMA was $4.50 a card, and they had true 20-day turnaround times, meaning it only took me 17 days to get my first submission back, which was 100 cards. And I was selling them in lots of 10. And I had just gone through like a bunch of bulky commons and uncommon cards. I'm talking, I was selling, like just for the starters, like Charmander, Bulbasaur, Squirtle. I was selling them in lots of 3 for $80. These are cards that I was valuing at a nickel a piece. So I was selling 15 cents worth of cards, spending, let's just say $5 for grading, we'll round up $15. In my head, I was like, okay, I'm into this card for $15.15, and I was selling them for $80. I did that as fast as I can. And again, that was that panic selling, but I looked at it as these cards being worthless. Some of the stuff you can, like, I had some return videos. There was a bunch of, I didn't get a single 9. Every single grade I got was lower than a 9. And I was able to sell these cards for $20, selling full heal trainers for $19.99, like for a 7 from GMA. It was, again, everything's in context, right? And when I look at it as what it was like one of my best sells I ever did, it's actually that, because my profit margins for that was greater than anything I had done in the hobby prior, and probably still anything I've done after. Taking literally nickel cards, $4.50 to grade them. Some of these cards I was selling for like $30, $40, like on the more high end, chase type cards. It was crazy. But I knew that stuff was not sustainable, that was just an irrational market. And one of the things that I've always like tried to do is, like I said earlier, is like do internal debates with me and talk like, what can people's thought process be? And as I was watching that market as being super irrational, I knew I needed to take advantage of it. And I knew I needed to capitalize on it. And PSA wasn't an option at that point. To send cards away at bulk in November of 2020, you might be getting them back today in 2022. Like, that wasn't an option. And I knew that I could sell cards at a higher amount from a crappy grading card company then than I could for that same card graded by PSA today. And that has all come to be true. It just took years to play out. So
yeah,
like, that's why I did that.
the timing of our favorite grading company was impeccable.
Yeah.
The CGC trading card company came in right when eBay, or not eBay, PSA was kind of just announcing, hey, we're going to hold off. So then CGC was there to kind of pick up the pieces of all of us and scoop up tons and tons of vintage cards and also tons and tons of modern cards. And we're seeing this play out in front of us right now. The current state of CGC, and it's pretty insane to see what's happened, and it's pretty unfortunate. Like you had commented on it, a lot of people are commenting on it. The number of tens coming out now, and it's pretty. I want to give it some more time just to confirm it, but just day after day, I see new collections coming through that were 50% tens, and it's discouraging from me because I had invested all of my vintage cards that I was buying through collections. And basically I was flipping them. So I wasn't like, if I would have waited on PSA, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So I was able to get money faster, but a lot of tens probably could have occurred. And so are you done with CGC, or are you still engaged to them at all?
I'm done with CGC. I definitely burnt that bridge. If anybody is not, new to my channel, they understand, like, I've probably, I would say, and I mean this, I've probably, out of all content creators that I could think of Pokemon in the YouTube space that I could personally think of, I don't think that there's a single person out there who has been more critical towards CGC than me. And I think that is a fair assumption. And you can go on my channel and watch a lot of videos where I've really gone after CGC. And a lot of people are like, why do you dislike CGC so much? And my big argument is because I had so much hope for them. Yeah. I thought that CGC would be like a great thing for this hobby. Any competition towards PSA is great. And when I do very critique videos against CGC, people, it's like this one weird comment I'll get. I'll do a whole video critiquing CGC and just going after everything they've done. And I'll always get a comment from somebody that says, just so you know, PSA and Beckett have done the same thing. And those comments drive me nuts. I'm like, first of all, this whole video was about CGC. And the fact that you want to mention that PSA and Beckett has done this, I know that. Yeah. I've known that forever. But I don't like that as a justification, right? It's because these people did shitty. The new kid on the block, who should have been the beacon of hope, should have changed the game, should have had great customer service, should have looked at all the mistakes PSA and Beckett did and said, we're not going to do that. We're going to be better than them. But people will use that as a rationality. It's like, well, why don't you talk about PSA or Beckett? You want to know why? Because I talked about PSA for the last 10 years and I shit on them every chance I got because I thought PSA was bad. But it doesn't change the fact of I understand PSA, I understand what they're doing. And not to give them any credit, everything they do is bad, but it's weird. People there's this very weird subsection of people in this hobby that to critique CGC is just so far past their comprehension, or their minds just can't even get to that point. CGC could do no wrong. And I'm trying to explain to everybody, who the fuck is CGC? They're brand new people. Stop putting them on this pedestal when they've done nothing for you.
Yeah.
And I had mentioned in a video going a couple months back, and I don't like that I'm able to time how CGC reacts. I was able to time CGC price increases. I was able to time PSA's bulk returns going up. I was able to time the fact that I thought CGC was going to start handing out tens a lot faster. And then the next thing I think CGC is going to do is we're going to see their bulk grading go from $15 and it's going to drop. And CGC is going to make an announcement they're the greatest thing in the world and they're doing this huge favor to all these collectors out there. No, they're going to drop their prices because people want to grade with them anymore. because of the shit they've done. But like you had mentioned with the 10s, you know, that's all speculation. And that's something I actually left out of one of my more recent videos because that's speculation, something I can't prove, even though we've seen it happen. We know it's happening. I've already mentioned that I thought it was going to happen, but it's just such a disservice to every person out there that graded with CGC prior, you know?
100%. Yeah, I know every PokeTuber that's on here that has graded with him has had all the same feelings. Echo Base, Catch 'em all collectibles, old school Pokemon. Just to name a few, we all have almost the same exact feeling towards CGC, and that is not a good look for them because you present to hundreds and thousands of people every video, and that is not a good look to just get bashed. So you'd think they'd be doing something about it, answering some questions, but it's pretty much just silence from them, and it's definitely disheartening, like you said. So
listen, I made a video I made a couple of videos talking about how they, you know, because for a while everybody out there might not know, but CGC's highest grade was hidden behind a paywall. Meaning if you didn't pay for subgrades, the highest grade you could get was a pristine 10, and the perfect 10 was hidden behind a paywall. And for anybody else out there who might not know what that means, is perfect 10 is all 10s, and then a pristine is, you know, like 3 10s and 1 9.5. And a lot of people didn't even know that. They didn't even know that CGC had 2 different 10s, the perfect and the pristine. And I was a very huge critic that I hated that perfect grade was hidden behind a paywall. And I made a video about that. And the very next day was when they announced that they were doing perfect 10s. Now, can I prove that it was because of me? No. But it is funny when you think about the timeline that I made a video on a Tuesday, or I don't know the exact day of the week, but I made it on a Tuesday and then they announced that on a Wednesday. So I personally think I had something to do with that, but who knows really, you know?
Yeah, you would think, because it's not like you don't see like the Twice Baked Jakes and all those guys talk. I feel like I don't watch much of their channels at all, but
They don't.
I feel like they don't talk about CGC. So CGC's probably keeping up with what's being talked about in the market, and you're probably one of them. So it wouldn't shock me if it was. So yeah, that's pretty interesting, man.
I think they shot themselves in the foot. And again, this is all my opinion, but I think they ruled their own destiny. They had at one point they had all the cards, man. They could have went in any direction they wanted, and whatever reason, I don't know if it was through poor mismanagement at the corporate level or HR team, or I don't know, their social media support team or whoever was making decisions. Just they failed. They failed everybody, you know.
Yep. There is. Yeah, I was just gonna say there is some utility though for CGC. Like, I
got crimp cards and stuff. Like, I got in the back. I got some real early base set crimp cards and stuff that were just, you know, I had acquired throughout the years, and I'm like, you know what? I got some crimp cards that would probably sell for, you know, pretty high dollar amounts.
Yep.
If they were graded by CGC.
Yeah, Charlie Herlocker, that was kind of what he went into on Pokenomics stream he did with it. It was a live stream. And just basically was saying the trophy cards, the error cards, stuff like that. But I had recently cracked my first edition PSA 6 Charizard, and I don't remember what grade you estimated.
I thought you were going to get a 6.
Yeah.
You're going to get the same grade. You got a 7.5, yeah.
Yeah. So that, just because they're a lot lighter on the dings, that's something I've done a few times, and it's pretty you can make money doing that, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah. I cracked we talked about GMA. I cracked a GMA 7.5 Shadowless Red Cheeks Pikachu and submitted it to CGC, got an 8.5. So I went up a full grade from GMA to CGC. I understand how the game is played. So
yeah. Hell yeah. No, that's pretty awesome. Your GMA, do you have any more GMA slabs?
No.
You hold on to them sentimental?
I that's a lie. I do actually. I have my Raichus. Because that's just a card that's part of my collection. I don't care the grading card company. I have Raichus graded by GMA, SGC, PSA, Beckett. I have the whole. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, I don't have any. I have one Dragonite movie promo that was from one of my real early submissions, and it just graded a lot higher than I was expecting. I ended up looking at the card a little bit longer, and I was like, oh, this card was actually in much better condition than I thought it was. I'm just going to save this, wait for PSA bulk. But no, I sailed all my GMA cards, but that was my goal, right?
Yeah.
It was just bulky stuff, and it was just a turn and burn, make money kind of thing. But people are going to hear this now, and they got to keep in mind like context of where this was. It was just a very small window of time, and $4.50 grade and stuff like that. And I always look, and this kind of brings me to like a topic of, I always try to look for irrationality in the market. And one of the irrationalities I saw was, one, people paying high dollar amounts for just kind of basement grading companies. But one of the things I kept hearing from people about GMA was that they only gave out 10s.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Well, that's nice.
Well, it's one, that they only give out 10s, and number two, you could like make your own grades. So I was like, I can make my own grades. I could tell them what this card is graded. And then I found out like all that stuff wasn't true. Like GMA offered a third-party service where you could grade your own cards and submit it to them, but it would have a different label on it. Like you can make your own label, and all they would do was provide the service of slabbing that card and putting the label on, but it wasn't the GMA slab. And I was like, oh, well, that's no fun.
Yeah.
That's not what everybody was saying. They were telling me GMA would let you grade with their label and give it any grade, and it wasn't. You had to like pay for that service and become your own company. And then another thing was when I sent my first submission, I'd done a little bit of pre-grading just because I wanted to make sure I wasn't sending anything of gen mint quality. So when I got that first return back and everything graded like sub 9, I was like, oh, well, they're actually like extremely good graders, because these cards are grading how I would have graded them. They're grading 6s, 7s, and 8s. It's like, God damn it. Like I have to stop reading everything on E4 because these guys, but then I thought about it. I'm like, everybody that talks shit about GMA had never graded with them. So I was like, well, they don't give out 10s easy, and I can't make my own grades. Like, thanks a lot, guys.
Right.
But that was part of like the rationality too of just the market as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah. So how's your go ahead.
Sure.
I was gonna say is like, how's your whole work life family balance? Because that, for myself, it's working 40, 45 hours a week, hang out with the family. I got 2 kids, 4-year-old, 2-year-old wife, wife of 7 years, and it's a lot of time. And then Pokemon, selling, YouTube. It's, how do you do it all, man? Like,
yeah. So I've always had a pretty strong work ethic. I don't sleep a lot for the most part, but like when I was working in North Dakota, before I quit that job and moved back to the East Coast, and now I'm still, doing geologies, but more like consultant and stuff like that. And the week that I quit, I worked 110 hours. So like for somebody out there to process that, that's just 7 days a week working, multiple hours a day. There was a while where my schedule was, I had to be at the shop at 4:30 a.m. and I was getting back to the shop at 9 p.m. That was my work time. So 4:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. And I did that for a long time. And it was just what I did. It was part of the job. But I was making tons of money, so it was great. But my current wife now is my girlfriend at the time. She was living with me. We had a dog together, and I was never home. And I had to make the decision, like, is this the kind of life I want to live from now till forever? Because the money was great, but you have to have balance, right? Like I remember coming home and eating dinner, standing up in the kitchen, and then hopping in the shower, and then going to bed, and just like the movie Groundhog's Day, like just living in that circle. So when I got my job now back on the East Coast, I was working like 50 hours a week. And everybody who I worked with thought I was a superstar because I was working 50 hours instead of like everybody else was working 40. Yeah. And I was like, I could do this shit standing on my head. So then my life came back. And like, so I've always been able to like be very good at time management, and now I have like a lot of free time. And my wife falls asleep around 8, 9 o'clock. We have a newborn. He's in bed by between 7:30 and 8. So this is my time. So when you always notice like, oh, my lives or my live streams are always later at night because that's my free time. And then I used to do the more meme videos where I
Yeah.
would put memes on the videos and do the processing, but it just took too much time. Where a live like what me and you are doing, once this is over, like maybe you'll have to do a little bit of editing here and there,
Yeah.
but for the most part, it's just hit the upload button.
Yep.
So once I switched over to the more live conversation, debate, however you want to call it, type conversations, it's just become so much easier now too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, hell yeah. Is your wife into Pokemon at all?
So my wife likes, yeah. So my wife likes to open up packs. She's definitely like, I don't know how to explain it. She's probably, if she were to stand against like the average person off the street, she would obviously know like a million times more Pokemon than everybody else. But for a lot of the people in this hobby, a lot of people that are watching this video, she probably doesn't know as much. She doesn't ever let me talk to her about Pokemon. She doesn't care. She'll ask me questions, and a lot of it was like values of cards and stuff because she started noticing it. It was like, oh, you're going to do a $7,000 purchase this week? Well, how much money is that $7,000 going to turn into? Is it going to turn into like 8,000? Or is that 7,000 going to go into your personal collection and then it fucking disappears, So,
yeah.
and then it was like, and then I'd have to be like, well, I'm going to take this 7,000, I'm going to turn it into 30,000, and I'm going to do it in like a month. And then she'd be like, okay.
Yep. Let's dance.
And then if that didn't happen, and I'm like, well, it only turned into the 7,000 that it cost, and then the other 23,000 went into my personal collection, Like when that shit happens, but she definitely is interested in that sort of thought. But
yeah. Does she ever help with like eBay pictures and listings and stuff like that? Because that's my wife does. She takes pictures of slabs for me.
I do everything on my phone. I'm old school. Do everything on my phone, all my eBay and photos. I do it all myself. Yeah.
So you do all of your listings from your phone, like all the pictures, everything, huh?
I only for the most part do 2 photos unless it's like raw cards. I'll like just snap a couple. Yeah, I do everything from my phone.
Yeah. I take the pictures from my phone and usually I'll upload them because usually I got like a 200 card return. So I'll take all the pictures, upload them to the computer, then I'll list them on eBay. Is usually my fastest process, but
yeah, I go down into my basement where all my cards are, and even now I have some returns that I'm just not getting around to doing. But I just put them in a pile, and then I just take them one at a time, and I do it, and I just keep taking photos, listing, and then when it's done, it's done.
Yeah. Yep.
I do mostly buy it nows though, so.
Yeah, same. Yeah, it makes it easier for sure.
I don't even do best offers, so.
Yeah, I did it accidentally on a handful of mine, and it was really annoying. Just the amount of messages you get. Oh, will you take this? Like, dude, come on, just.
I still get offers on my buy it nows where people are messaging me and like, will you take this much? And I respond to them, but I'm like, no, thank you. And I leave it.
Yeah, it's about, yeah, I try and list, like I have pretty much almost my whole collection listed on eBay.
Yeah.
In the concern, like just if I ever wanted to just liquidate it, I could flip a button instead of having to then rush and scramble and take all these pictures to list everything. So it's kind of there listed high because I'm not really trying to sell a bunch of them. But that's kind of how I would utilize PWCC if I submitted to them. It's kind of just sit it there in the vault waiting to flip a switch if I wanted to, but I like looking at them. So
yeah,
it's kind of tough.
no, yeah, I've definitely liquidated a lot of my personal collection. Like I said, a lot of, at least when it comes to the graded stuff. And I have what I don't want to get rid of right now. And it's actually kind of nice in a way because I've always talked about this on my channel is Pokemon's big. there's 89 different expansions, not including like specialty sets and stuff like that. If you wanted to buy, $100 worth of each set, like that's $8,900 just to buy $100 worth of each set. When you have a ton of graded cards, which I did at one point, and those were spread out through different, sets, different eras. None of them were complete sets, with the exception of like I had an Aquapolis complete set. Or no, I'm sorry, I did not have Aquapolis complete set. I had an Expedition complete set, and like cards like that were, I don't know how to explain it. It's just you don't have as much like emotional attachment to them when they're one-offs of different cards, and they have no meaning behind it. They have no set meaning, where I've decided to get a little bit more hyper focus. Like I have a base set, graded collection. I'm working on some graded collection for some other sets and stuff like that. And I'm trying to be a little more hyper focused, and not just, for a while, it definitely, like at a point in my collecting journey, I was just like, ooh, that's shiny, ooh, that's shiny, that's shiny, that's shiny, that's shiny. And if you were to look at my collection just spread out, you would be like, there's no identity here. Like, what is this? And I'm like, well, I really like that card, and I really like that one. And so
you can get caught. You can get caught down a rabbit hole, especially on eBay. Like you're like searching for a card, like, man, that's a sick looking Raichu I haven't maybe seen maybe one other time. Maybe I should buy it. Like
I still find myself doing that. I mean, it's just that's just part of it. And but the thing is the cards I was most successful with, I wasn't most successful with like grading WotC cards. I was most successful grading like Nintendo cards, hollows, EXs, reverse hollows, things that were super low pop. Like that's where I had my most success, like from a dollar, cost average type thing, where it was like, holy shit, people are going to pay a lot of money for this, or level X cards, stuff like that. It's like, that's where the money was really. And I don't know. So I was lucky that those kind of, ooh, that's something shiny type of thing, like was super helpful, like Team Rocket Returns, sets like that I thought I liked because it was a more niche thing. And it was like, well, a lot of other people like this set, or EX Dragon, or, Deoxys, not including the gold stars, but everything else, or EX Emerald, or Ruby Sapphire, or Fire Red Leaf Green, or, EX Dragon, or, some of the Heart Gold Soul Silver stuff, or, Diamond and Pearls. I mean, Secret Wonders cards, stuff like that. Like those were the graded cards that made me the most money, because that's what and there was no competition. Like for your base set Zapdos, I mean, how many are probably listed on eBay right now? It's got to be like between unlimited Shadowless first editions, probably just some crazy ungodly amount between auctions and buy it nows and stuff, where if you, type in, I don't know, like something super nichey, right? Like some, like a hollow Houndoom from Skyridge in PSA 10. Like what's a PSA 10, Houndoom sell for? It's like, holy shit. Even in reverse hollow, this thing sells for a lot. In the rare non-hollow, non-reverse, just regular non-hollow rare, it's $149. It's like, what? It's crazy. So
it's a wild time. You have you ever participated in any like the big box breaks or anything? Like what's the most, have you ever participated in any, I guess?
Nope. Never bought a pack in a box break. Like with the exception of I bought a 2 packs in Europe pack break, just because it's more for like a support, and I want to join the chat, and I think it's going to be a fun experience. And I think your price was way too low, like $2 a pack. That's why I only bought 2, because I literally messaged you like, I don't want to take everyone's packs, because I just want to be part of the experience. But now for like the PokéRev box break stuff like that, like that's just not for me. I did do a Leonhardt Pop Shop where I bought that vintage pack, but I got the VIP ticket. but that was for the experience. That's a little different than watching it through your laptop, right?
Oh yeah, it is.
To go experience it, go be part of it. I don't know if you did you get a chance to watch my recap video of that?
Did you grade your Mewtwo?
Not yet.
No.
Nope, not yet.
You think it's not a 10 then? You think it's probably a 9?
Yeah, I think it'll probably get a 10, but I just haven't got around to it yet.
What did basic trainers Charizard get?
We don't know.
I don't even know.
Hear this. We don't know. So there is like a lot going on with the pedigree. I made a video talking about how somebody else was there, brought their pack from home. It was a known heavy pack, and he happened to pull a Charizard, and it wasn't bought at the event or stuff like this. And he had it graded there, and it got the Leonhardt pedigree, and it graded a 9 and stuff. And the guy advertised it all over his social medias and was like bragging that he pulled it at the Leonhardt Pop Shop. But it was like, you didn't buy the pack there. You brought it from home. You just happened to be there, you know?
That's
so Basic Trainer decided he's just not going to open his PSA box. So he just has the sealed box from PSA in a glass frame. And he has no clue what it is. The only person out there who knows the grade is Rusty, TCA Gaming, because Rusty was nice enough to pay Basic Trainer's grading fees. But I don't know what Basic's plans are with that, but he may never know. And so we'll never know 2 things. One, the grade, but more importantly, we'll never know if his card got that Leonhardt pedigree or not.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, because the guy who graded his Charizard had said, if Basic Trainer's Charizard doesn't get the pedigree, then I will send my card back to PSA and have it reslabbed without the pedigree. And the whole thing is, it's like, no, it shouldn't be dependent on Basic Trainer. You should man up, send your cards back, because you don't deserve that pedigree. And again, it goes into like, not like a conversation I really want to have right now, but it's like, if he was still technically there, even though he didn't purchase the pack, even though PSA was clearly written in the fine print that you needed to acquire that pack at the event, stuff like that. So it's that little Pokemon juicy drama that no one cares about except for like the very small part of this hobby.
Yeah. You have you been to Collecticon or any of those yet? Or are you planning on
No, so Collecticon being so new, I haven't. It's just been so hard to travel between COVID and now that we have the new baby at home. It was kind of, so when I went to the Leonhardt Pop Shop, it was on a Saturday. I flew in on a Friday and flew out at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. So it was just, I don't have the time to like leave the baby, leave the wife and stuff. And especially he was super young at the time.
Yeah.
If they ever come to the East Coast again and maybe a little bit more, northern, I'll definitely join. I'll definitely attend. So,
what state are you in, or do you not want to say?
I don't. I'd rather not say. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on the East Coast. Like obviously PokeRev, all of those guys. Radar just moved out there from Michigan. There's
Radar, Cool Trainer Ryan.
Rock Pokemon, who you were with, lives in the same city as Catch 'em All Collectibles. I don't know if they realize that. That was pretty cool.
Nick Old School Pokemon's, in that area too.
It's just, there's who's on the West Coast. I'm trying to think of like who's Leonhardt. No, he's in Texas.
Texas. I think, I don't know. I mean, we keep this like small sphere of Pokemon collectors, but
we just don't like Californians.
I think there's probably like a whole nother world out there, but they're on that kind of time zone. So when all their lives are just when we're all asleep, so we don't even know they exist.
Yeah, the Pacific time Poketubers and the Eastern time, Mountain time Poketubers.
So like if you ever stay up to 3 a.m. and turn on YouTube, you'll be like, oh, there's all these other people, and they're exactly like us, but they're just all different names. But they're all like there's all doppelgangers for all of us, and it's like another world.
That's hilarious. I was thinking something like that might be happening for like the UK, which is why I asked Professor Oak about it. But he said there's like nothing out there similar to kind of this type of content. There's nothing coming out of the UK like that. So it's pretty interesting to think about.
Yeah. Do you ever look at, I don't really, so I'm really bad at looking at my analyticals on, like the people that are watching it. But I have found that I do have a lot of viewers throughout the world. So it's not just America. Like North America only makes up like 60% of my viewership. So the other 40% are just people from all around the world, whether that's Europe or Australia or, it's crazy to think about too,
Yep.
that we have any sort of reach, right? Like I first of all, like I'm super grateful that anybody wants, if how long we've been talking for now, we're going on about it a little over an hour. Like anybody who's still listening to this video, like you guys are troopers out there. You're like you're the heart of Pokemon. You're the true fan, right? Like anybody who's still watching this.
Yeah.
And I'm always amazed. Like one of my more recent lives that I did to kind of plug my channel is it was me, Cool Trainer Ryan, Rattle Pokemon, and at the end of the live, PokeRev came on. And it was like a 3-hour and 38-minute live. And the amount of watch hours I got on that video, not views, watch hours, is just a preposterous amount of hours. We're talking like hundreds of days worth of watch hours,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, holy cow, when you break it down and you think about it from like logistic, there's like 7 people watching me talk about Pokemon every single second of the day. When you think about it that way, you're like, whoa, wait, there's 7 people somewheres in the world listening to me talk about Pokemon every single second of every single day. It's like, how did this happen?
It's wild. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then that live was just, the amount of watch hours was crazy. Like I don't know if you even watched it, but it was a fun live.
Yeah, I think Rev, you say he comes in at the end, but it wasn't he on there for like an hour and a half? And
yeah, he came on for an hour and a half, which when you think about a person like him, right? Like what we're doing is so super niche, right? He's got 700,000 plus subscribers. Like between the time he was on my video to today, he's added like another 20,000 subscribers, like he's got that exponential growth type of thing going on where we're just kind of nickel and diming it, get like a subscriber here or there, make a video, you get a couple here. But like when you look at what he's done and it's like, holy cow, but then he was willing to come on like little Joe Smo, Poke Knowledge, like,
yeah, it's cool.
baby channel, which is who am I compared to him? I'm nothing. Like I'm a nothing of a nothing. But the fact that he came on and he was super nice, and the other people in the chat were like super nice, and we all become like this weird group of friends, and like, can I call Rev a friend? No, probably not. But can I call Cool Trainer Ryan a friend? Yes. Can I call Rattle a friend? Yes. And if we're ever in the same, scene again, like, would I be able to easily walk up to Rev and be like, hey, man, thanks a lot for coming on my channel and chat, and him being a normal dude and being like, yeah, no problem, man. Like I had a lot of fun talking Pokemon. Like he doesn't get to do that sort of conversation on his channel because his channel needs to be catered for a certain type of viewer, right?
Yep.
Where when you have a Cool Trainer Ryan on and a Rattle Pokemon on at the same time, you have like
open up a little bit.
Yeah, and I purposely designed that live to have them on at the same time because their personalities, right? Like Cool Trainer Ryan is legit real. Like he's real almost to a fault. And then Rattle Pokemon is the same way. He's just super real. And whether his opinions are true or false or right or wrong, it doesn't matter because it's what he believes,
Yeah.
When he makes a video, at least there's just this sort of confidence behind the words he's saying because he believes it. Yeah. And to have those two in the same chat going back and forth, and then me just sitting back, like I loved every minute of it. It was awesome, man.
Hell yeah, man! No, it was awesome. I was tuned in live. It was good entertainment, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So
and then
go ahead.
Oh, and then when Rev showed up at the end, it was just like, oh shit, we're about to turn the volume up on this, you know? And then like Rev comes in and the first thing like Ryan says is like, why you always wear the same stupid black shirt? And then like you knew from that point on, it was just like, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah. It's like Mark Zuckerberg, all the same shirts and pants.
Yeah.
And do what you gotta do, man. You get comfortable.
Yeah. But that's it too. It's you don't do this because you have to do it. You do this because you want to do it. And I think that's what it boils down to is do you enjoy what you're doing? Like, do you enjoy talking about Pokemon? It's yes. Like I'd be having this conversation with you even if it wasn't being recorded and wasn't going to be on your YouTube channel. Like this is what I live for, you know, like in a sense, like this is Pokemon is a huge part of my life. And I'm glad that I get to now like live this. It's almost like a new chapter of my life in a way, right? Where now, where maybe I was always more quiet or I didn't put my face out there and I wasn't talking about this in a public forum. Now that I am, that has opened up this new chapter. And even if I'm not sharing experiences or sharing knowledge or sharing anything, as long as I'm sharing enthusiasm,
Yep.
like that's it, man. Like you went on Professor Oak's channel. Like Professor Oak is sharing enthusiasm for this hobby. He's doing stuff like that because he wants to. And for the listeners that tune in, they want to be there. And it's just it's awesome when you think about it.
Definitely. No, I'm loving the community. It's there's a lot of nice people. There's not much toxicity at all. Like I think I blocked one guy on a live one time because I shared it to a Facebook group, and that was probably a mistake. So I was just the dude had popped in and just like spamming curse words. Like I was like, all right, like what are you doing? So it's everyone's very humble and like Pokerev's very humble gentleman. Um, it's awesome. It's awesome to look forward to the future for sure.
Yeah, so it's funny when I experienced my toxicity of like comments and stuff was at the very beginning of my channel. And that was when the most toxicity was. Maybe it was just I was an easy target for a lot of people because I didn't have a lot of subscribers and stuff. And I went at it's funny that we talked about CGC, but I went after CGC in a video. And like I don't even know where these people came from, but they all just went after me super hard. And one of the guys, I'm always thinking about unblocking him because his comment was like, who is this guy? He's a nobody. He's going to be gone in a year from now. And I always thought about like unblocking him and just sharing that comment out to everybody as like a community post and like wrong. Like this was wrong. But then I don't want that guy like coming out because he's already like a troll in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to keep the trolls under the bridge. That's for sure.
So
you go ahead. I was gonna say real quick, your last video, is that why you would ask people to hit the dislike button because you're just expecting people to bash you again for going to CC?
I do that because it's funny, right? Like, don't forget I think the exact words I was like, it's don't forget to smash that dislike button on your way out. Just because when you do videos that are a little more polarizing, you know, trashing on a grading card company or, you know, it wasn't even like so much as trashing as it was just expressing disappointment, right?
Yeah.
And I think anybody who's truly engaged in the hobby truly understands who's submitted cards to CGC and has submitted cards to PSA and sells cards and knows the market and done all this stuff. It's just disappointment. Like that's what it boils down to. So not everybody who watches that video will understand that. If that video, when it's all said and done, gets 2,000 views, how many of those 2,000 people are truly as super engaged as maybe me and you are in all different areas of the market? So that video could go over their heads and they'd be like, well, I like CGC.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Come at me, bro. Damn.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You're so how long have you been consuming Pokemon YouTube content? Obviously, back in 2012, there was not much options back then. So when
Sure.
did that whole thing
I
start?
wasn't. I didn't really. I was always familiar with like TCA Game and was one of the few people I watched all the time. SM Pratt, probably like I want to say maybe I started that in 2018-ish. I started watching him, but it wasn't like I'm consuming now. Like now, when a new video comes up, I'm consuming that almost instantly. And then there was some people that I've had on, or one guy I had on my channel, MK Poke CC. I don't know if you got to watch that live. He was a big
Yeah, Mike.
trophy card collector. He was a content creator for a while. I consumed a lot of his content. He stopped. I think he made all his videos private like 4 years ago, though. But watching those guys, but it wasn't like I had to watch it. Oh, it came out, need to watch it. It's been live now for 2 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Those guys you would just go back and watch after the fact, especially like Rusty TCA. Really like some of his older videos when he would show me stuff that I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
You know, whether it was, you know, like test print stuff, you know, sheets, error cards, variants for booster boxes, variants for packs, variants for cards, just different types of promos that I wasn't really familiar with, or he was just all encompassing with just this guy who is so amazingly super engaged in the hobby and somebody that I still look up to this day. And if I ever get to have him on my channel, like I'm just gonna fanboy the whole time. It's gonna be probably like a super awkward interview for everybody involved, including him. Like but like that was a guy that I always watched, but like the super consuming like I am today, keeping up with everybody's content, that came out of COVID. That came out of quarantine. That came out of the most extreme boredom people could get, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
So,
So who would you say besides SM Pratt and TCA, was there other people that were like your milestone people that you're like, when this guy uploads a video, I'm gonna watch it? Do you
no,
have like just those guys basically to start?
yeah. Like I said, MK Poke for a little while, like I really got into his content because it was just so different what he was doing. He was doing investment videos.
Really?
Nobody was doing investment videos. He was
No.
doing investment videos. He was telling me to go out and pick up, Versus series for $300. Like he said, go out and pick up the entire Versus series for $300. He told me to go out and pick up like, trophy cards, and told me to go out and pick up just cards that now you look back on and you're just like, oh my God, if I
Yeah.
listened to every single thing this guy said to me, I would be a millionaire of millionaires. And it's different. It's just a different time, right? It's a different, I don't know how to put it. Like you think about what he did. And I've talked about this on my live, but if anybody out there who doesn't know who he was, in 2009, he was washing dishes for a summer job. And during that summer job, he saved up $1,800. It was all the money he made washing dishes for a whole summer. And he had $1,800. And he went out and he bought a Mewtwo Super Secret Battle #3 trainer. That card is one of the rarest, most holy grails of trophy cards that exist. When people talk about it on the most high end, that's a card. He couldn't afford the one, he couldn't afford the two, but he bought the three, he bought it raw. And he sent it to PSA in 2009 and he graded it a 10. It was the first ever 10 ever graded for that card.
Yeah.
That card at the most recent auction sold for $100,000. He did that washing dishes during summer.
Yep.
You cannot wash dishes over the course of a summer to buy that card anymore, you know?
Yeah.
Or the fact that he owned, like the first ever snap cards when the Poliwag went out. And at the time, people thought only 10 of those cards existed for each of them. And then the guy posted the photo, and then we knew it was 15. And then later, everyone came that, it was 20 cards each winner got. But no one knew that. He was doing all this stuff at like called the Wild West of Pokemon at the very beginning when they didn't even know how many Illustrator Pikachus existed or Magikarps, or he bought University Magikarps, or He owned 2 Trophy Kangaskhan's. 2.
Yeah.
People will never own one in their life. He graded one, a PSA 10, and he thinks it was the first ever 10, but he wasn't positive because he wasn't going to like. But think about it. He bought $1,000 card. A Trophy Kangaskhan PSA 10, how much money is that freaking card now? He traded Pokemon cards to get an Illustrator Pikachu.
Yep.
The most recent Illustrator Pikachu sale was $900,000. That ended up not getting paid. It still sold for $720,000. He was able to trade Pokemon cards for a card that is now the most expensive card in the entire hobby, getting very close to that $1 million mark. He traded for that. Like, when you think about people like that, like those are the people I flock to. Like those are the people that interest me, because when he was spending $1,800 on a trophy card that no one probably knew existed, because how many people in the height of Pokemon, which we live in 2022 and we came out of the biggest boom in the history of Pokemon, when you say super secret battle number 3 trainer Mewtwo, how many people are out there listening and say, I don't even know what that card is?
Yeah.
And he was spending his entire life savings buying that card in 2009. I like, those are the people I look up to in this hobby, and like those are the people I'm like, when I grow up, I would like to be him, but he was a junior in high school doing that, and I can't grow up and become him. It's crazy how some people have the mindset, and like that's why when I talk about Pokemon, I talk about it being a marathon and not just a race. And a lot of people in 2020, 2021 thought this was a race, and it's not. And you can't be successful if that's how you're going to do it. It's got to be the marathon. You got to grind it. And you have to just think long term and have long term projections. You can still live in the today, which is a minute to minute or hour to hour or day by day, because it's fun. There's a lot that goes on with Pokemon, but you got to be looking into the future. And if you're not, like, in my opinion, you will never be hyper successful in this hobby if you don't have that sort of outlook. And the truth is, and this is the saddest part of this hobby, is not everyone will do that. That's just not the facts. We'll probably lose a lot of people, like through, and I call it the Pokemon journey, just like in the Game Boy games, like your Pokemon journey. Everybody's Pokemon journey is going to be different. And sadly, at the end of the journey, like some of the people you started that journey with, like might not be there. And I hope I will be there. I hope you will be there. I hope the people I, converse with on a daily basis will be there, but I don't know. So
yeah, man, it's I think a lot of us will. I think I don't plan on going anywhere, so I'm really looking forward to the future. Like it's going to be, I think it's bright. I think trading cards, you see like the price of some of these video games, it's actually insane that they have popped off. Like these aren't like competition games that are selling for $1.5 million. It's come down quite a bit, but it basically it spiked and came down, but it's still expensive as hell. Some of the really rare ones. So there's room to grow for sure. Like there's the people buying these are older. Some of this stuff, because they were playing it when they were 13 in 1990 and 1988. So now they're a little bit more advanced, further into their career. I think that's going to help Pokemon a lot, just because like a lot of us are like 30 to 35 that are doing some of this type of stuff and some of the higher end stuff. So as this develops, it's going to be very interesting. Very interesting.
I mentioned one of my other videos is I like to, and again, this is stuff I don't talk about on my channel, but I'll talk about it on yours, is like I'm into other things other than just Pokemon, but I super hyper focus on Pokemon, especially for my channel. But I'm looking at other stuff. I buy dead TCGs, things that are dead. They don't exist anymore. And there's no buyer pool out there. But a lot of that stuff is like $20 and you got to pay for shipping, because people don't give away stuff. Like, you have to pay for shipping. There's no such thing as free shipping on this super low end stuff because it's a booster box.
Yeah.
And well, if I'm buying that and I feel comfortable spending $20 or $30 buying something that died in 1996 and nobody has thought one time about it since 1996, if I'm comfortable buying that at 30, how comfortable am I at buying a Pokemon booster box at 80 when there's 10,000, 100,000, potentially 1 million people out there who care about it? So it's like, you know, I brought this up because you had mentioned during the Instagram before we went on that you were going to ask me about like my like past or about me. And you know what this is? This is like a trapper keeper. This is my original trapper keeper from when I grew up. And besides Pokemon, the thing I loved from growing up more than anything else was Pokemon series, or not Pokemon, Marvel Series 4 cards. You can like build them on the sheet, and they made like a
it's like a comic page
card thing. And then I was able to complete this whole set when I was growing up. And then at the very back page is like all the special, I guess, like the holographic cards or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, I love this so much. And like, I have a sealed booster box of this. And maybe one day I'll open it, but I don't need to, because the cards that are in this binder are not in penny sleeves and they're in the worst possible condition possible. And they have frayed edges and stuff. And this binder wouldn't be sold for $1,000. Like, it means more to me than so much that I have like in my life. Like, it's, I don't know where this really ranks in like the grand scheme of my life, but it's pretty high up there from like my collector side of me. And if I can grow an attachment to this, which is, you know, this came out in 1994. I remember going to the card shop with my grandfather, my dad, picking up packs of this, trying to complete this. Like, this is important to me. Where's the future of Pokemon when I could like stuff that's from 1 year timeline of my life? That was a small window of my 34-year life. This maybe encompassed 1 year of that life, where now Pokemon has managed to somehow encompass greater than, you know, 40% of my life at this point. It's just amazing when you think about it. Like, nostalgia, like your childhood, things that are important to you, they all change, right? When you get older. But there's some things that stay the same, or some things that might have left but come back. And when they do come back, they're there to stay. And for me, Pokemon's there to stay. Like, for a lot of people out there, probably Pokemon's there to stay. And if, let's say, during the height of height and the booms of booms, for every 1,000 people we had come in, only 50 of those people stay. But if those 50 people out of 1,000 are super hyper focused and super passionate, we are in such a better position than we have ever been in this entire hobby. And like, just that is crazy to think about. And not just from, you know, but like when you start to think about the investor aspect of it, if you have this many hyper focused people, there's only so many cards out there for some of these sets. Cards that I buy have total populations of 40. Yeah. A total population of 40, and that's sets that have been around for 17 years. Think about that. I mean, how many more of those are going to hit the market? If you have 50 hyper-focused people and only 40 of those exist in the world, but now maybe we're going to start moving into like 1,000 hyper-focused people. Like, it's going to start getting cutthroat pretty quick in this hobby. But there's going to take time for that to get there. And that's just my opinion.
Yep. No, that's exactly it. It's like 40 cards are not like they're going to get in the hands of collectors. And it's going to get really interesting, really interesting. It'll take time, but I feel like it's going to happen quicker than we think because we are all getting older quickly. So, starting our careers and earning more money and spending more money. So, yeah, and it'll be sweet, man.
You know, the normal, you know, trajectory for people is you go to school growing up and then you go to college, and then right out of college, you're establishing yourself in your career. But when you get to our age, like the 30s, you should be coming into, you know, your higher income earning years, but now you should be moving up the corporate ladder faster because you're young and, you know, you're probably moving up in position, and with that comes salary increases and costs, you know, like all that stuff is going to start rising. And then when you get super old, like in your 50s, you're going to start winding down and you're going to be getting ready for retirement, stuff like that. But then you're probably going to be at like your peak earning, which hopefully at the age of 55, right before you retire, you're making more money than you were when you were 25.
Yeah.
But we're moving into this income earning like years of our life. And there's a lot of smart people in this hobby, a lot of hardworking people. At least that's how it seems. And if that's the case, like the sky is literally the limit. And it works down to this. Those who know understand. Those who don't understand, and they'll never understand. And I don't need to have conversation with those people because I know, and that's all I need.
Yep, exactly. That's all you need, man. Just buy what you like, and it'll you'll be happy. That's about it.
So I don't ever talk about this on my channel because, again, super Pokemon focused on my channel. But is there anything you're looking at, any other like TCGs or stuff like that? Stuff I would never talk about on my channel.
Yeah, so I didn't ever play Pokemon. I played Yu-Gi-Oh growing up. Pretty much as it came out, 2003-ish, 2002 is when it came out in North America, but I played that quite a bit. So I've been collecting a bunch of those because there's a lot more nostalgia because I would actually play with the cards, and I ripped a lot of those packs. So I've been buying a lot of that. More singles and grading them because a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh people, because in Yu-Gi-Oh you can still play every card. It doesn't rotate out. So some of the vintage stuff people like playing in decks because it's old and it looks cool. So a lot of cards are still raw. Is like the pop report for some of the most popular sets is like 3,200 total graded cards, which is like nothing compared to Pokemon.
Yeah.
I had just sent like one of my favorite cards of all time to PSA. It's currently Pop Zero PSA 10, and I'm hoping I have the first one ever to come back. So
That'd be awesome.
That's the type of stuff. But I played the World of Warcraft trading card game a little bit. I have some of those that died in like 2008, and then they made Hearthstone, the online game. So stuff like that. Some video games, but what about you? Besides the one you showed me already.
Yeah, well, I'm done with that. I mean, I got my one booster box. I have my set from growing up. I don't need to buy any more of that. Like I'm not acquiring anymore. So
G.I. Joe to the moon, huh?
what?
G.I. Joe?
I got my G.I. Joe booster box.
I saw it, yeah.
I had a bunch of like random booster boxes and stuff. But I don't see, I'm like almost nervous to say it because all right, let me preface it with this. So I was super critical towards MetaZoo. And the reason why I was super critical of MetaZoo is because I thought it was two things. I thought it was a pump and dump, and I thought a couple ththings. I thought it was a pump and dump. I thought the rationality behind it for all these people didn't make sense. But the big thing is it didn't make sense to me. What they were doing, the rate they were going. When I look at a TCG or I look at something like Pokemon makes sense to me. Like Pokemon doesn't really surprise me by anything they do. Sometimes it surprises me a little bit, but for the most part, it's like, oh, another set's going to come out, specialty set. Oh, this card was released in Japan. They didn't put it in this set. It's probably going to come out in this next set. If it doesn't come out in this set, it's going to be in some promo box. And like for the most part, Pokemon is relatively like everything they do makes sense.
Yeah.
MetaZoo constantly was doing things that didn't make sense to me. And MetaZoo was constantly building barriers for entry, for where they were only rewarding early adapters of the game. And anybody who moved in there after the fact, like they had gated off that community inadvertently or not by making one of 100s or one of 10s or rare stuff or so. And again, I don't want people, and this is probably the only time I ever talk about it. I'll never bring it up on my channel. So anybody who made it now, an hour and 45 minutes gets to hear what I'm gonna buy some of is like the new game Sorcery that Rudy talked about on his channel. But the reason I'm gonna buy that is because, yeah, it's a Kickstarter. But when I looked at that game, I said, you know what? I was super harsh on MetaZoo. Let me look at this Sorcery. And when I looked at it, it instantly made sense to me.
Yeah.
I already like could understand how to play the game pretty much. I understand the artwork. I understand what they're doing. But more importantly, and the thing that was most important was they're not trying to just pump out product. They're going to do like one set a year. And anything that I pick up needs to be secondary because Pokemon's always going to be number one and nothing's going to dethrone Pokemon. But if my secondary thing I now collect only has one set a year released,
Yeah.
I have so much breathing room. And I looked at some of the artwork that they were doing, some of the old Magic artists they brought on. There's going to be 402 cards. Every single card is hand painted. Every single card was done by different artists so when you look at all the cards, like you can see the difference in the artwork, right?
Yep.
Like there's like nudity on the cards and stuff, like, so it's not made for kids. It's made for an adult base. And I got it. I looked at it and it instantly made sense to me. And it's a Kickstarter and it's a new TCG and it might die. And I don't ever have to like repeat this to anybody because I don't talk about stuff that I buy because I don't want to like influence the market, but whatever. Like I like it. I liked everything about it. And I'm thinking about it this way. I think I was wrong about MetaZoo in a way. I think MetaZoo did something right, but they brought it in the wrong direction. I think MetaZoo was just too early to the game. They opened up the door for new TCGs.
Yeah.
But the problem is they're not going to be the TCG that is now going to survive. They're going to open the door to let somebody now walk in. And looking at like what this Sorcery Kickstarter did, they've raised over $3 million. Like they're going to come out of the gate just dominated. People that get in with this Kickstarter with the alpha cards, like these alpha cards are going to be special. Where maybe some MetaZoo people would say that about that, but MetaZoo didn't have like this hype behind it and like people that were excited. Like I'm excited about Sorcery because I want to play it at my kitchen table with my wife. And because that's the way they're rolling this game out, to me, it's going to be successful. And all the people that joined MetaZoo did it, I think, to stonk out and make a lot of money. And while I think there will definitely be that sort of person that is probably buying Sorcery because they're looking at what happened with MetaZoo and they want to make a lot of money.
Yeah.
What I think is going to happen is that for a large majority, those people are just probably getting excited about it because maybe they missed out on MetaZoo and they couldn't be part of that gated community, which MetaZoo inadvertently created by doing one of hundreds and stuff. And they put up walls and it's confusing. Yeah. Where Sorcery, I could look at their website one time and totally understand it. But now what's going on with MetaZoo for the most part, and the thing I hate about MetaZoo is I think everybody looks at MetaZoo as a money grab. So if that's the case, everybody from MetaZoo is going to go the Sorcery because if there is true demand, which I think there will be, then prices will increase and all those chase the penny type people are going to flood into this product. But again, this is stuff I will never have to repeat to anybody because I don't ever talk about this stuff. So.
Oh yeah, man. No, I have not seen that video by Rudy yet about talking about that. I don't follow Kickstarter much unless I see something pop up on my personal Facebook or something, but it sounds pretty awesome. It'd be interesting to see a new graded card.
So this is the thing. The alpha comes out, they're doing alpha like booster boxes. You can still go on the Kickstarter right now and buy it. When I looked at it, it was like the last time I looked was like 3.4 million raised. They're doing like a bunch of money. The amount of people buying this stuff is still really low. Just go look at it. I don't be like, oh, I told you to buy something, because that's not what I do. I'm not shilling this product. Like I don't have like, I bought one case. So a case is 6 booster boxes. And because I like it, and it's like $714 for a sealed case. And for me, like $714 is nothing. Like you should see how much money I spend on Pokemon. It will make you puke. Like,
Yeah.
so to do this, something that I'm excited about, that I like, it's just like, okay, I'll do this. And if it goes to 0, like, I like that. And the reason why I don't bring this stuff up ever on my channel, not to like, I'm a guest on this channel. You know, it's more an interview, so I guess it's more like an open-ended thing. And I know you do mention other TCGs. Like, I don't want to ever like tell people what I'm buying, because if they do take my advice and they're like, hey, I want to take your advice, and PK is going to do this, so I'm going to follow him for whatever reason. When I lose my money,
Yeah.
I don't have anybody to answer to. Like, I don't have to worry about looking in the mirror and being sad.
Just
If I were to ever lose somebody else's money because they listened to something I already, because I know the inherent risk, right? Like, I'm not going into this not understanding that there's a risk factor, but my risk tolerance is just so much different and like than the average person. So I don't want people to do what I'm doing and then get burned by it, or even for somebody to be like, PK is shilling this product after he shit all over MetaZoo. It's like,
Yeah.
I'd rather just sometimes keep my internal dialogue secretive, I guess.
Yeah, it's a big difference between me and you a little bit, just because like I don't shill things, but I started my channel basically as a vlog of my journey through collecting, like things I've purchased, collections, displaying the collections, my entire CGC returns from the collections, stuff I've purchased for my personal collection. Just it's that for me is going to be awesome to look back on in 20 years. And whether I'd never give people financial advice, but they could see what I've purchased and leave it up to them to do whatever they want. And a lot of it's not doing it to make tons of money. It's more of like, hey, I wanted this PSA 9 Venusaur for my collection, but it's all calculated risk. People got to go off of what money they have, and don't over leverage yourself for trading cards and collectibles. So like Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles, the same way with MetaZoo. He said, I had this play money, I dumped it into these Kickstarter boxes, I'm up. What do you know? I'm like, that's what happens.
Yeah, and I just told you that I want to buy this game Sorcery so I could play it at my kitchen table and play it with my wife. Like, I just literally told everybody I'm going to open a booster box and play with the cards. Like, I'm doing this stuff because I want to do it, and I just happen to be mesmerized by the art.
Yeah.
And the gameplay is so simple. It's not tournament style. Like, it's more of a kitchen table type game. And the artwork is what got me. Once I saw the artwork, I was like, this is different. This is something I have never seen before. At this level, it's kind of like a Flesh and Blood, but just different, like that sort of artwork. And I thought to myself, I'm like, man, maybe I was wrong about MetaZoo, that what they were doing, that there could be people that were passionate, but I still do believe that how they're leading that company and the decisions they're making will not be beneficial for them in the long term. And you can't do the one of ones, you can't do the NFTs, you can't do they're doing like numbered plushies and stuff. That's not sustainable. That's not, you don't make that for the average collector or the average player. Like, this game Sorcery, yeah, there's going to be the alpha, the Kickstarter, but they're going to make, like, you know, beta versions and stuff that it's going to be readily available for people to buy and play at home and stuff. Like, I don't know.
What was the last TCG that you actually played?
Pokemon. Yeah, I haven't really played much. I played the online game. I haven't played it in person. I played when I was a kid. I played in the Toys R Us leagues.
Nice.
But, you know, I played a little bit online, but honestly, it just got so hard to keep up to date with decks and stuff and code cards and everything, and to really stay competitive, that is just something I said, you know what, I'm not doing it anymore. And once Pokemon goes into an actual mobile app version that works, like, I'll be back in. And I got more code cards right now downstairs and like I know what to do with, but there's no way to scan them in without a tablet and do all this like extra steps. I'm like, I have this thing on me all day long, my cell phone. Like, this is what I'm gonna like use to play the game. And once they make that, I don't know how Pokemon hasn't been able to make a mobile version yet.
I think I swear they had just like made like that version. I swear that it exists now, but I'm not positive.
Oh, maybe. Then I'll have to look at it. Yeah.
Because Yu-Gi-Oh just did theirs, and that was like it's a huge thing for them. That they haven't really had that, and I swear Pokemon, either it's about to come out or it's already out. So, but yeah, the online stuff's expensive. Keeping up with those code cards, I purchased an actual competitive deck for my friend for $20, 60 card deck. And I was like, I'll take it. It's just
Well, and when you think about the cost of entry for competitive decks for Pokemon, it's like pretty cheap too, especially with how much product was open in the last couple of years. Like, talk about I mean, yeah, if you want to bling out your deck and like do alternative art and stuff like that, yeah, you're going to cost a lot of money, but you can make a pretty decent competitive deck for pretty cheap.
You can make probably any deck probably sub $200.
Oh yeah. I mean, what do you need? Like some incense and boss's orders and a couple energies and maybe you picked up a Marnie milk carton and you're gonna run Marnies in your deck, stuff like that. Like, it doesn't take much,
Versus Yu-Gi-Oh, there's a card that people play 3 of in their deck that costs like $120 a piece. Like that's a modern card. It just came out. It's so different how it is between the two games. It's crazy, but yeah, man, it's lots of things to look forward to. I appreciate you definitely coming on. I'll probably wrap it up, let you enjoy some of your evening here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'm just gonna go to bed after this anyway. So, you got any last questions though, or?
No, man, I think I'm gonna leave it at that and leave anything. Definitely look forward to hopefully have you on again. I'm like I had mentioned in my discussion. I don't know if it was with Mason or it's blending together now. But pretty much don't want to just have people on once. It's not just I'm not climbing up the corporate ladder of interviews here, so I'm just gonna bounce all over. Probably have Professor Oak on it sometimes. He's a really good guy to talk to. Just want to talk to other collectors, see where their mindset is. Today I learned about a new TCG, which is awesome. So I appreciate
which
that.
I can't believe I talked about. That's what somebody's going to probably bring up in my live, and I'm going to have to pretend like I don't see him talking about it.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be all right. I don't get tons of views. Like the average between less than 500 on my podcast episode. So, which is not zero, but I'm sure we have crossover between the people that watch us. So,
and no, I appreciate you coming on my channel too. I know we had a little technical, difficulties, but it is what it is. But yeah, for everybody out there, I'm Poké Knowledge. Hopefully, I'm sure you'll put a link to my channel down in the description below. If anybody out there, this is the first time you ever see me talk and you enjoyed this conversation, I do a lot of stuff like this on my channel. Go there, check out my video, give me a subscribe. I think you guys will be happy. And there's another live similar to this with me and the Green Shiz on there. So it's fun. It's just talking bullshit and Pokemon, man.
Yep. So what links you think you want me to put down there? Just the YouTube, maybe Instagram, or no? Just basically YouTube?
Instagram. I still don't know how people found me on Instagram. That was supposed to be like a secretive thing. I got 0 posts, 0 following, and I somehow got like 140 followers. It doesn't make any sense. No, don't link that. That's a secret thing.
I'll put your LinkedIn down below then, your address and credit cards.
Yeah. Social security number.
Yeah.
Mother's maiden name now.
Yep, we'll hook everybody up. So you'll be doing well tomorrow morning when you wake up.
All
But
right,
yeah,
sounds good, man. Thanks again for having me on.
no, definitely, man. I'll probably upload this. Usually I try to do it next day, so I'll probably upload tomorrow, 11 a.m., noon, around there. So
Yeah, that's fine.
uh,
Don't worry, I never rewatch my lives, so
no, you're good.
I can't do it. Do you ever rewatch the videos you make?
Yes.
Oh, I don't. I can't. I
Most
did.
most yeah, most of mine are like 10 minutes. So
Oh, okay.
sometimes I'll play it just to make sure when I edited something, it's
Oh,
good.
so you
It
don't
sounds
you
good.
don't do the Scott Pratt video where there's no sound and just the card for 10 minutes in front of him?
That was hilarious. His card, but no, yeah, sometimes I do like listening back to some of my old discussions with the collectors from these earlier podcasts. It's just awesome to talk to these people and look back on some of their discussions.
Yeah, I'll have to do that on some of my older ones.
Yeah, it's cool, man. You're just like, wow, that's like, I just realized like old school, you had interviewed old school Pokemon or had your live with, I think it was a live you did with them. And it was like 20 days before I had him on my channel. And I didn't even know he did that on your channel. So I'm like, what are the odds? So I was
Yeah.
like, that's awesome. So there's a lot of content of yours I get to go back now and watch because like I have been. And we're gonna find all these Californians with all the same type of content going on now. So
Yeah. I
that's
know one of the big springboards for me was going on Jake from Pokenomics channel. Like that was cool. That helped out a lot. But you know, when I was a pretty small channel, Mason Cardinal Gaming, he went on my live. He didn't have to do it. I was super small channel, and you know, he helped me out so much.
yeah.
And then yeah, old school Pokemon, and I had like a former Upper Deck guy on from the Upper Deck like sports cards, and then like Jake's been on my channel. Echo Base Collectibles been on. Rattle Pokemon, Cool Trainer Ryan, Professor O, Basic Trainer, Rock Pokemon has been on. You've been on. Just I hope there's nobody I'm missing. Oh, Dan Catch 'em All Collectible has been on. Like there's just so many people that have been so grateful to donate their time to me, and like I can't thank those guys enough, and can't thank you enough. So.
Oh yeah, man. No, I'll definitely be in touch and look forward to the times ahead of us for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely hope to see you at a Collecticon. I know there's one in Charlotte that I won't be at, but I'll
Future's
be.
bright, man.
Yeah, it is. I know with your is that 8-month-old, right? Or 9-month-old
He's
now?
9 now. Yeah, 9 months now.
Yeah, I don't miss I need to go get snipped yesterday because I do not want to experience another child. Holy cow.
Yeah.
It's
All right, man. I
yeah,
appreciate it. I'll catch you later.
talk to you later.
All right.
I'll talk to you.
Bye, everyone out there.
Peace.